Henry. I already talked to her about it before we even launched it to get her ideas and let her know what was going on, because I value Catherine Henry very much. She has taught me so much this summer, so thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, she has taught me to not only carry my Bible around with me everywhere I go, I already did that because I'm a minister, pastoral care minister, but to carry some form of Constitution with me. So I have tons of these. I have them everywhere, so I carry them. And then I want to introduce to you Rachel. She is my co-founder. She's the first person outside of God and my husband that I talked to about Guardians of Freedom Michigan. The Lord wanted me to call her, and I did. And when I told her what was going on, she said, yes. And I said, oh no. So I have to be quick, and I want to be able to get the other speaker on, Mr. Detmer, who's here. So I want to just quickly tell you about us. We are not alone here in Michigan. We are the Michigan chapter, Guardians of Freedom Michigan. The other chapters in other states are actually Ohio Stands Up and New Mexico Stands Up. And as they go along the states, as long as they don't have a Stand Up Michigan or a Stand Up Wisconsin, they'll probably be that state stands up, okay? So we couldn't do Michigan Stands Up. It's just too close to Stand Up Michigan. We don't want to confuse anybody, and we don't want to cause any problems. We're all marching towards the same goal, just from different angles with different plans. And so we are Guardians of Freedom Michigan. Everybody got it? Okay. So we are joining arms with Ohio. They filed a federal lawsuit. And the federal lawsuit, it attacks the whole entire declaration of emergency for the state of Ohio. And what they did was August 31st is when they filed their case. But that day at 2:30 p.m., Mike DeWine, their governor, was up on the news talking about how they were going to take the schools and the colleges that were empty and modify them and retrofit them to become quarantine isolation centers, because they get federal dollars for that when they quarantine people. So that's what they were going to do. That was at 2:30 p.m. on August 31st. August 31st at 8:30 p.m., Ohio Stands Up filed their lawsuit. And to this day, which is we're on January 15th, 16th, on January 16th, he has yet to speak about doing anything like that. He, however, had come out to try and tighten up his mask mandate. And he also thought he'd be really cool and put in a curfew because COVID understands, after 10 p.m., anything can happen. Game on. You're out, you're getting it. So he said from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., nobody could be open and nobody could be out and about. Well, Ohio Stands Up, together with also another organization, which I'll tell you about in a second, have had people out checking these enforcements. The mask mandate is not enforced by any of the government people or organizations like the Health and Human Services Department or any of DeWine's followers. The other thing that's not enforced is the curfew. It has never been enforced. They were purposely out driving. They were purposely out trying to go to party stores, anything that would be open, hanging out in groups of people to see if they could get the police to come and be like, you have to go home, you're breaking curfew. Nothing happened. Nothing has happened. Okay, so also Ohio, as we know, we can go to and we can go dine in and eat in the restaurant, and you don't have to social distance and you don't have to wear a mask. Okay, their schools are open. Not that I personally care about that as a homeschooler. I think schools are terrible places for your children. If you want to take back this country, never send your child to a school again. Never. Keep them home. You are plenty smart. You have plenty brains to help your children become educated and to get them to be productive citizens or let me change that language too, productive, sovereign individuals in this world, okay? So we are teamed up with Ohio, and now consequently we're teamed up with New Mexico Stands Up as well, because they just filed their federal lawsuit. And then the national group that we're linked with is called MakeAmericansFreeAgain.com. Okay? Pam Popper, if some of you in the holistic natural medicine world know who she is. Dr. Pam Popper, that is her group. She also consequently is an Ohio resident, and so she's part of Ohio Stands Up. So is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, some other people, some prominent doctors from over there. But we're not alone. That's the point. We're not alone in Michigan either, because we're linked up with Restore Freedom with Catherine Henry. We are also linked up with We the County, which you guys should definitely check in and get connected with, okay? We're trying to build our connection and our network of like-minded people so that we have each other and we don't feel alone. And then we can organize little shopping trips, awareness events, anything like that where you're not alone. Maybe you are afraid to go to a store because you don't like confrontation and you want to wear a mask because you just want to avoid that confrontation. It's terrifying to you. You just can't handle it. You're just that kind of a person. We will have groups and shopping days and times where you can just go in and you can know that there's been organized, that other maskless shoppers will be there that you can bump into, so you can confidently walk into that store without the mask for the first time and know that you're not going to run into confrontation. Okay? We're going to put these things together because not everybody, and can I go just a couple minutes longer because somebody showed up that I just need to make a point with. Okay. I was going to read my invitation letter, but something happened that I think is way more important, because in this battle, these elected officials think they own us, and they don't. Okay? We are God's property. That's it. Okay? When we fight these battles, it took me 6 weeks to get through that I'm going to go through with this, because it's not just me, it's me, my husband, and my children. Okay? And so it was 6 weeks of prayer. It was asking my husband 3 different times over 6 weeks, are you okay if I become the face of this and this lawsuit? Because we have one heck of a punitive governor she's pretty nasty. And I wanted to make sure he was okay with it, because I really did offer this to some other groups, and they turned me down because they have their own narrative and their own plan, and they just thought they couldn't do it. But I do have to tell you that sometimes when you're fighting for your rights and you're standing up for yourself, you're dealing with people who don't know the law or the Constitution, okay? And you're going to maybe get arrested. And you're going to have to accept that. And you're going to have contingency plans at home to help you in case this happens. Catherine, please don't leave yet. I need you to come to the front of this room if you have been arrested for fighting for your rights, your constitutional rights that are protected, or I'm sorry, your God-given rights that are protected by the Constitution. Can you please come up? It's going to happen. You have got to know that when you are fighting the beast, let's just put it out there, this is a terrible machine, it's a beast that's we're facing, darkness and evil, they're going to do everything they can. And one of the most intimidating things they can do to you is put you in handcuffs and humiliate you right there in front of everybody. This happened to her on election day, right? In front of her daughter. They threatened to take her daughter away with CPS that very day, not allow her husband to come, not allow anybody that was there supporting her to handle her car, handle Emma, anything. She had to go through that. And they beat her up, and she had bruises. Yeah, I asked her when I was watching on her live, are those from when you were arrested? Bruises all up and down her arms. And she is a lawyer who understands the Constitution, and they still did that to her, okay? So I want you to understand that when she tells you you're going to have to grow some thick skin and you're really going to have to dive into this, you really are. Please understand this is what you're going to have to do, but you're not alone. Our group will also be raising money for legal fund for people to help people, okay? The Democrats aren't the only ones who have money to bail people out. If we band together and put our money in funding, we can help each other. And this happened on election day, and everything you did was actually totally 100% legal. She was on township property that was holding elections more than 100 feet away, and they still arrested her. 3 grown men deputies, so yeah. Good for you that it took 3 of them. Good for you. I am proud of you. And her case is far from over. So I do say, if you have any donation time, or money, not time, she doesn't really need the time, she needs the dollars right now.
Hours too.
She does, but she needs the money for her cases. Please donate to Restore Freedom with Catherine Henry to help her out. We, as our organization grows and we have funding, we will be allocating funding where we see that it needs to go. So we want to be part of her call to actions and help with that too. So we just want you to know we're not leaving you hanging. We are on the same team. We're just attacking from every single angle possible. Okay, so this is one awesome warrior I'm so proud of. And then we have this lady, my dear friend Tammy, who the other night called me and said, "You will not believe what happened." She went to Kroger over in Livonia to go grocery shopping for her and her kids after work. She does not wear a mask, but she did put one on that day. I think she was hoping to get in and out, and she had it under her nose. And she was given a hard time by the employee that was going to check her out, that she was not going to help her and serve her for her groceries unless she put that mask over her nose. And then she said no, and she stood her ground. And then the manager came over and said, "Ma'am, she's not going to help you unless you put the mask over your nose." This is Wayne County, by the way. She said, "No, I'm not going to. Then you can help me." And then the manager said, "No, you can go over to self-service and you can do self-service." And Tammy said, "No, my groceries are here and you can help me." And so as she was doing that, working that out, then some man, 6'3" something, decided as a customer that he needed to jump in and do what he wanted to do. And he got really rude and terrible, used terrible language to her, and told her she needed to put her mask on. And when she told him, "No, I have, what did you say?"
I told them that this was not constitutional, that I did not have to wear a mask. I had a medical exemption. And the man came up to me and threatened me bodily, like he was going to attack me. And I wound up leaving the store, and the police were called, and the police drug me out of my car. And thank God there was a man videotaping who stood up for me and said, "I've got all of this on tape." I mean, they didn't say you're under arrest or anything. They reached in my window, opened my car, and literally just yanked me out. And it happened so fast, I almost didn't even know what happened, but I grabbed onto my steering wheel and I turned my body, and they just started dragging me. And I would have landed on the ground, but I think for the man with the camera, they kind of pulled it. And I said, "What am I being arrested for? What crime have I committed?" They wouldn't answer me other than "You're interfering with an investigation," because they said that I hit the man.
While she was defending herself, because all she did was put her arm up to stop him from hitting her. When her arm made contact with his hand, he said, "She hit me, she hit me." And so they turned it. So the good news is she was released that night. She didn't go to jail, but they did release her because that man decided not to press charges against her. So these are things you will encounter. They happen. And I had 2 ladies here today, right in person, in this small group, so that you know, every time I cannot wear a mask at all. I have not worn one once. I cannot wear one. I medically cannot tolerate it. I have no option. I know every time I pray before I go and I get nice and relaxed and trust in the Lord, because I know that this might be the time I get arrested when I go out there. Because you don't know. You just don't know. The enemy right now is so strong and so full of it. They think they have everything. And they've been, given permission by our government to do this. And actually, I shouldn't say government, the elected officials to do this terrible behavior. So I just want you to know that we're here, Guardians of Freedom Michigan. We're raising money to launch the federal lawsuit. We will also be hosting weekly meetings, okay? We plan to spiderweb the whole entire state of Michigan, not just Lower Michigan, but the Upper Peninsula, with weekly meetings. So you'll be able to go to a weekly meeting in person and connect with each other and be able to do shopping events and things like that. Yes, thank you, Tammy. Okay, so that's what we're about. We have a table out there. You can sign up if you're interested. We will email you our invitation letter. And then if you follow the steps, we do have protocol because we want action people. We need you to take action. So everything we ask is for a reason. If you follow it, then fantastic. We know that you're willing to take action. So we're new. And thank you so much, Rachel, for letting me speak a little bit longer, and Mr. Detmer, too. Thank you. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Joey.